All right. Well, how about you just let's see. Just tell us your name and what you do and go from there.
Just like not my day job, just my like other stuff.
Yeah, you don't have to. I know there's probably some security issues, right?
Yeah, that kind of. Not really, but kind of. Well, somewhat. So my name is John Sanchez, and I am a local illustrator, screen printer. Um, I was born and raised here in Albuquerque, New Mexico, on the west side all my life. Um, let's see, studied artwork in New Mexico State, um, and got my BFA in graphic design. So Mexico State is where I learned to screen print, and I do a lot of that now. Um, uh, and then let's see, out of college, I worked for various print shops. Um, and then I worked at the Journal for like 12 years, and then UNM for 6 years, and then my new job now. Yeah, so
Cool.
yeah.
Yeah. So what got you into the arts?
Uh, I don't know. Just I don't know. My mom said I've been drawing since I was a kid, so I was always doodling and drawing stuff, and I was really into like sci-fi and comics and things like that. He-Man, of course, all that stuff. Um, Star Wars. I was always drawing that as a kid. I took art classes like in elementary, and I went to bias for high school, so I took a lot of art courses there. Um, and then when I went to state, I was like wanted to see if I could make it a career. So I just figured I'll give graphic design a try because computers always fascinated me, because I didn't really use them up to that point, honestly. I just like used them to write papers and stuff. So I started out doing graphic design there and just learned like Illustrator, Photoshop, and all that stuff. But then because it's a BFA, you still have to take like all your kind of core classes. So like black and white photography, color photography, and that's like developing it and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Also, like drawing class, many of them like figure study and also like still life and stuff to start out with, and then you have to take one painting class. So it's pretty well rounded. Like just even despite the whatever emphasis you go with, like I had to take sculpture as well. So like I learned to weld and do you know wood shop type stuff. At the time I had a pet hedgehog, so I made him kind of like a little castle to live in my sculpture class. That was pretty cool. He had like a little slide and everything. Um, but yeah, I think all of it kind of helped inspire what I was doing with the graphic design stuff. Like it was all a part of it, like the photography. I don't know about the sculpture. I guess in a way, yeah, no, it did. It did because I did some 3D design projects too. So it was kind of cool how all that stuff kind of inspired my direction. And then
Screen printing.
the screen printing was the big one though. That's the one that the instructor Louis Osepic, he was a screen printer like professionally. So it was a must. Like it was a required course as part of graphic design. And it was hard. A lot of people dreaded it, and it had its own urban legend of how hard it was. And so I went in terrified. I was like, oh no. And I did my first poster and it worked, but it was just one color. So okay. I followed all the directions about the line screen and how to set up my work and stuff, and it worked fine. And then we had to do a 4-color project. and I did this like thing of insects. It was like a black widow and a moth. I forgot what else, but it didn't work. I tried, and it just did not work. The ink wouldn't come through. It was off registration, and at the time, I didn't know enough to like try to fix it or try to re-register my stuff. I just thought that like once I had messed up, it was done. So I started from scratch, like the day before again, and I worked through the night and rested for like an hour and had a juice and a breakfast burrito at the little tower place there by I guess that used to be the old football stadium where the art department was. We were in the basketball building though. This is like an old building off of the university in Las Cruces. And just kind of chilled out and then went to class with a poster that I was proud of. It was registered, you know.
Yeah.
But my instructor, he didn't tell me until years later. He was, I noticed that you washed your hands not so convincingly because all the colors in your poster were still in your fingernails. And I'm like, busted. You know, what happened? I said, I just, I just wanted it to be perfect. And I had messed it up. And that's when I learned that important lesson. He goes, well, it's screen printing. That's part of it. The imperfection is what makes it great. Otherwise, you would just be like printing it out of a printer.
Yeah.
So,
so now you do that today, like you do that in present.
Yeah, that was 2000 and no, wow, that was 98. It was 1998, and then in 2008, so it was exactly 10 years later. My friend Jeremy, who who we worked with, he had a friend who had a band here locally called the Belmont, I think. His friend Billy, and they were opening for a band called Murder by Death. They're a band that we both like, and they're from, oh, where are they from? Are they from Montana? I forget. They're not from here, but they're pretty big in the indie rock scene, and they were going to play at rallies, and Billy's band was going to open for them, and they needed a poster. Jeremy had already done all their flyers and their artwork already, so he designed a poster. He goes, I want to do a screen print. And I said, why? I have all this old equipment. It's just in storage at my mom's attic. I just left it there, So we just dusted it off and went for it. And I was getting kind of vibes of that problematic poster back in the day because like it didn't work. Again, it was our first time using metallic ink, and we didn't know that you have to have a certain mesh screen for metallics for it to push through like all the metallic elements. So parts of it were like missing, and kept trying to tell Jeremy like, this is what screen printing is. It doesn't have to be perfect, and he wasn't super happy. But we got through it, and they loved it. The band loved it, and we hung out with them, and it was just that was the itch. And then I was like, oh man, that's when it started. And I was like, I want to keep doing this, And I got the itch to do gig posters for bands in college because when we were in school, there was this guy Chad, I think it was his name, and he had been doing posters for bands in El Paso, at Club 101 and these bigger places. So he he had been using the studio at night to like use everybody's screens to make these posters, which what he shouldn't have done, but he was really clean about it. It wasn't like he messed anything up. He knew what he was doing. He was kind of a grad student, but my friend Monica found like, she goes, what is this? And I was like, these like neon orange halftone dots, like just printed right there on the side of her aluminum screen. I'm like, that's weird. And then sure enough, I saw one of Chad's posters, and it was kind of like this like rockabilly kind of poster. There was the orange halftone dots. I was like, oh, I think he used your screen. And we never said anything, but I want to talk to him about it, And he goes, yeah, man, like I do these posters, and like the band, either they'll pay you sometimes, or you split the profit. Like there's just a million ways that they want to do it. It just depends, And that's what me and Jeremy learned. We started doing posters. So my first one that I designed was Calexico. They're a band out of Tucson. They were John and Joey. They're very nice guys. They were really nice. And the deal they did was, they split the profit at the merch booth. and then I kept all the rest to sell myself, which was cool. And I did some stuff for Cursive, the band, and that kind of led to doing more stuff for them. They wanted me to do, I think I did 2 tour posters after the local one I did at the Launchpad. And then in 2012, I want to say, they asked me to do their entire album artwork for their album I Am Gemini. So that was wild. I had to do a lot of illustrations. I didn't have to screen print the poster, which is good because it was their official tour poster. So they had to print like hundreds of them. So that was machine screen printed, but I did separate it and stuff. But I ended up doing all their vinyl. I did handkerchiefs, T-shirts, a lot. And Jeremy, on the other end, was doing stuff for Murder by Death still. They really liked him. So I think he ended up doing like 3 or 4 gig posters for them. He did a kids tee, an adult T-shirt. I think he did a koozie or something. I don't know. But he's in their art book. It's called The Art of... It's not The Art of Rock. It's something else. But it's just a collection of... Because so many people do posters for them. And we found that certain bands out there just have a lot of posters done for them. People are itching to do it, you know. Like the Decemberists was a big one. Spoon, Murder by Death. So a lot of these bands oftentimes will just do these like really nice coffee table books, like with all that artwork in them. So Jeremy was super psyched to be published in that.
Do you still do band stuff or band or gig posters?
We don't because like fast forward to now, like we just do movie posters for the Guild Cinema when they have screenings. So we've kind of switched to movie posters somewhere, and like well, I don't know, what year was the Stephen King show? Do you remember?
Oh,
we were at
a while back. That was
2017.
Yeah, I would guess 15.
2015, yeah. So we did our first posters for the Guild Cinema. They were doing a double feature Stephen King show, and then we had a big group art show. We used to do these big group art shows with all our friends, including you. And you were in that show, I believe. And we all just contributed to these cool themes. We had a Stephen King one. We had a Tarantino versus Kubrick. We had an 80s, 90s cartoon show. And during that time, they were showing a double feature at the Guild of Maximum Overdrive and Pet Cemetery. So me and Jeremy were like, well, let's like take what we know about screen printing and making posters and just let's try a movie poster, you know, and it was an official event. So we put all the proper logos and the credits and all that. And they were both glow in the dark because mine was Maximum Overdrive, mine glowed green, and his Arrogant has glowed yellow. And after that, you know, we kind of hooked up with various sponsors that do movies at the Guild, Lubonicon, New Mexico Entertainment, Pride and Equality, just there's the Alibi, the paper now, and they kind of sponsor the movie and we do the poster, you know, and they don't charge us and we don't charge them. We just sell it at a discounted price for the moviegoers, so it's incentive to come to the theater to get a cheaper poster, half price, and then we just sell the remainders to make the money back. We've been doing that for over 10 years now. But all in all, in 2 years, it'll be like 20 years that we started screen printing and doing posters. So it's been a long time. But it doesn't get old, you know, it's always a challenge. I mean, to this very day, like I still try to do stuff that's just like wild, you know, try to mix it up. Like with Selena, they were showing Selena on her birthday in April.
Yeah. You mean Selena's?
Yeah, but I made sure to illustrate it so that it was J-Lo, that it's the movie Selena. Because you know, I don't want to like, you know, it's not, it's supposed to be the movie, and you know, I don't want to get in any trouble. So I did that. And it went off pretty good, but I wanted that glitter, and man, getting that kind of burgundy purple glitter to be the right color was so hard, dude. I ended up mixing, well, sorry, I'm like going all over the place. The glitter I use is a Hemway glitter. It's like at Home Depot. You put it in your house paint stuff, so it's real fine. And I ended up mixing fuchsia, purple, and holographic pink to get the Selena color, but I got it. It took a long time. I was like showing everybody, trying to test it with a picture here. The thing with glitter, though, much like metallic, I more so is that it's tiny shards of stuff, right? So like you have to push that through the screen as you're screen printing, so your mesh has to be real wide. So
Yeah.
the lower the number, the bigger the mesh holes is how it goes. So normally, like when we print, like our detailed stuff, our drawings will be a 230 mesh. That's like our standard. If we're doing anything with white, which has more pigment in it, or metallics, you want to do like a even like a 195 would work, but like we do like a 150 because the lower you go in number and the bigger the mesh hole, the less detail is there because you start to see the little like squares in the mesh. So for Selena and for Hedwig, that's when I first did the glitter. Um, I ended up getting a 60 mesh screen,
Yeah.
and everybody was laughing. He was like, "This is like a screen door, dude. Like this is it's gonna look crazy." So what I did is I just on Hedwig it was a logo, and then on Selena it was just the outfit. But that's not a lot of detail. It's just a shape. You know what I mean? So it
Yeah.
wasn't like there's no fine lines. It's a chunk of it. But man, like you just hear it like crunching as it's going through, but it does it. And it's wild because I didn't think it was going to work. And then it dried. And I was like, oh no. Like you could barely see it in there, like here and there. And I kept, on the light. I was like, no, that's not going to work. And I was like, there's plenty of videos online, screen printers that'll offer all that information.
Yeah.
The guy said if you're using acrylic inks, you're going to get that film on it. He goes, just take a soft sandpaper, super light, or even like a paper towel, something, or like, what do you call them, the microfiber cloth,
Yeah.
and just wipe it. You wipe off that top layer, man. I did. I'm not kidding, Austin. That glitter was like, it just, it was like just pure glitter. Like the thing is shiny.
How many posters did you do?
We always do 50 to make it worth it. Jeremy's dad got us these screen printing racks, and that holds 50 posters. So I've done more, but it's a pain to take those out and put new in.
Yeah.
And honestly, I mean, we started I think we were in our early 30s, right? So that it's hard work. I mean, it's harder now. I wouldn't want to do more than 50, honestly. It's just too much work, and they don't sell that fast. Like, you have several years before you can, well, certain ones I've sold really fast. Like, and it just depends. You never know. Like my Raven one that I did, and Selena sold fairly quickly. It was funny. That was Spanish Market. That's a show that I do every year. Or sorry, Contemporary Hispanic Market. We're on the contemporary side, and the traditional Spanish Market is on in the plaza. Um, I had like three people come back, and only one of them wanted a refund when they realized that it looked like J Lo and not like actual Selena.
Oh.
But when I explained it to them, the other two they understood. Like, oh no, you don't want to get in trouble. I get it. It's the movie because it has the credits and everything at the bottom.
Right.
And even one person really knew. They're like, yeah, her signature is actually stylized. That's not her real signature. They did that for the movie, so you use the movie logo, and it's clearly her likeness, actress. So it's not. So it's interesting how people just pick up on those details.
Yeah. Do you mainly sell like the posters on your website and at comic conventions and
Yeah, comic conventions, contemporary Hispanic market. Now Art Walk. We've been doing Art Walk every first Friday. We'll be there tomorrow.
oh really?
Mm-hmm.
Uh
Uh,
where?
the 505 Food Hall. That's mostly where we've been.
Oh, okay. I didn't know they had things in there.
Yep, downtown 505 Food Hall will be there from 8 to 9. If you
Okay,
want to
cool.
buy and grab a bite.
Okay.
We like it. We interact with local folks. We hadn't done that in a while. We only did really Comic Cons and the market up in Santa Fe. And then we do some out of town cons. Currently, we do El Paso Comic Con in March, and then we do the Days of the Dead convention in Las Vegas. That's fun. That's a lot of fun.
Yeah.
We kind of got the itch to do the horror cons because we were told we used to do Phoenix Comic Con in Denver, and those are big cons. They're super cool, man. Hundreds of thousands of people. Like you're just kind of you're just a little little piece of a big puzzle. So the sales aren't as great as you think when there's that many people because there's so much good art, competition, and just all that stuff. But a lot of people were telling us, go smaller conventions. So we did. And a lot of people said that the horror conventions or kind of tend to like really like screen prints. And I don't know what that is. Is that like gig posters, like rock music, horror movies? And it's just part of a thing. But we noticed it right away. Our first one was Mad Monster in Glendale, and we did better than we had done in a long time. People
Yeah.
were coming up and asking, "Are these screen printed?" Like they actually they cared about that, and that was really cool.
That's great, man.
So we did that for 3 years, and it just got too hot. Jeremy was like melting. He was so grumpy about the heat.
Oh, I would be too. I
He's
am
like,
already.
yeah, no, he could. He's like, I can't do that again. I can't do it. And I was like, no, that's cool. So we were kind of looking around, and I found the one in Vegas, the Days of the Dead con. It's at the Plaza downtown. Um, and man, they're so nice. Like we got there, it was just like it was just a really nice crowd. I forgot the guy's name. He's from Scary Movie. I forgot his name. He's a he's in Meet the Parents too. I forget, but anyway, he's really nice. And he like was across from us, so we were kind of getting his crowd. Like they'd be taking pictures and
Yeah.
come and see us. So, yeah, we love him, man. We had a really good time in Vegas. We'll be there again in early September.
Nice. Does any of your artwork express any social or political issues, or do you keep
Um,
away from that?
yeah, it does. It does. I mean, not so much now because we're kind of cranking off those movie posters. So it's like, um, but in the past, yes, when I do kick posters, they definitely were more. Because with my day job, I don't really have. I always had a day job, like an 8 to 5. So this is kind of like I hate calling it a side hustle because it's a lot of work, but it really is. At the end of the day, like my priority is my day job. So I come home and I do this on the weekends or at night. Um, so I like to do more of my own work. It's just the guild keeps us pretty busy with the movie posters. We do about 4 to 5 a year,
Yeah.
and then I've been doing stuff with. So on that note, I would say of more recent times, I try to do stuff that's like socially conscious when I can. Obviously I do all the Pride events, like I've done Hedwig and the Angry Inch and Kinky Boots, and um, for Pride Month, um, and and then I've been doing stuff for the New Mexico Higher Education Department in New Mexico. So I kind of got linked up with them when I worked at UNM through my boss's boss, Cinnamon. She talked to the deputy secretary of education, and she said we need an illustrator for this project. And Cinnamon was like, "I'll let you do this on the side because technically it's conflict of interest. You just can't go work for the state. You got to stay here." And she's kidding, but
Right.
But yeah, I met deputy secretary, and she's great. She's awesome. I owe her a poster too. But no, yeah. So since then, I've done a couple posters for them, and one of them was celebrating the New Mexico Hispanic Education Act. It was celebrating an anniversary, and I'm doing a new poster now that will be uh, they're going to have a little pavilion at the state fair. So I'm doing that. This one's just celebrating education, but they want to celebrate kind of the theme is like in New Mexico, like education has always been kind of like a family affair. It's like it's all about family, family encouraging you to be educated, family passing down wisdom to you. Um, so essentially, my poster focuses on Hispanic, Indigenous children um, that are being educated by their families, like some non-traditional education. So
Right.
hard to explain now, but I kind of have this thing with like kind of a Zia, but it's not a Zia. It's just like a half circle with the Zia lines, but then in the lines I have a timeline Like there's a baby and he's playing with a mobile of like some planets. And then he's a little boy and his mom's reading to him about space. And then he's building a space shuttle with logo or like Legos. Sorry, I work graphic design, so I say logos. It just comes out.
It
And then it's
happens.
like he has his family with him. They're very supportive. He has a big family, and his aunties are showing him this and that. And then he's going into school, and then he's graduating. And he's probably taking a photo with his family, and then he's becoming an engineer. And now he's working on parts of a satellite, and then it comes full circle because you have the planet Earth and the moon and the satellites there, and he's working on that. Like, and then another one is this girl's born to like I said, she's Hispanic mom, indigenous dad, and she's celebrating both cultures. So the little girl's there, and both her parents are dancers, so they're traditional dancers on both sides. And then again, her family is involved all the step of the way. Hers is a little different journey though, because she's getting into like social work and kind of just doing the good work. And it's in the sketch phase right now, but essentially she's going to become community leader. So I've drawn the end of her journey where she's at a podium with a lot of folks talking to people. But I just wanted to show like that her culture led her there. The third one, which I haven't even drawn yet, but it's in my head because the Zia, there's like three sections, will
Yeah.
be farming. So I haven't decided what kind of farming yet because there's a lot of farming that goes on in New Mexico. So I haven't decided which one to do yet because I'll have to draw it. So it's also like more depends on that. But Deputy Secretary said, any farming is fine, just that they want to kind of show maybe like a couple of children learning from their elders on how to farm, and then them teaching their kids how to farm and keeping that farming in the family. And then focus on solar down here, and of course some balloons because they're nice and colorful. Uh, so this poster I'm describing will be available to State Fair this year. So I better get to it because State Fair is in September. So
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
Um, I may have to stop and then we'd have to restart. Like I didn't realize that you have to have a Zoom Pro because it's like, oh, your time's almost up. I was like, what?
Oh, 30 minutes, right?
Yeah. Oh, so that is okay.
I think so.
Well,
Yeah, if you don't have an account, yeah. When I was
okay. Okay. Well, then if we have to stop, then I'll just resend you the link and we'll
okay.
just pick up, I guess.
Yeah, we could wrap it up. I don't know if you have any other questions. I'm kind of going off on random
Oh,
stuff.
no, it's all good. I had some other questions before that thing came up. So hang on just a moment. Um, yeah, do you consider yourself an artist or designer, or do you even classify yourself?
Um, I don't know. On my profile, I just put that I'm illustrator, screen printer, graphic designer, just all three, I guess. Because it does kind of speak like it all relates together somewhat. Like when we do the posters, like a lot of it, my design skills that I learned, you know, play to that for layout and spacing and all that kind of stuff. And um, like I do a lot of magazine cover type stuff. And I like the stuff I'm doing for the Department of Higher Ed. Um,
Yeah.
a lot of it is very graphic. Like
Yeah, one thing I wanted to ask too is about I know you worked on that graphic novel for J.
George R. R. Martin.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah.
How did that go and how did you come about that?
How much time do we got?
We got 6 minutes, but like I said, we can come back to it.
I'll be really quick. Just kind of, can you give me one of them? Like, give me
Go, yeah.
like a 30 seconds.
Yeah.
Wrap it up. Uh, let's see. So like I said, I do contemporary Hispanic market in Santa Fe, and every year they have a poster contest so that you can submit your art to be the poster for that year. And I won that year, and it was this well, I have it here. It's kind of too hard to show you, but I don't know. Maybe I just happen to have it. I mean, it's just here, but it's this one. This one, you've seen that one.
Oh yes, yes.
Yep. So that image, she was on this poster for the market. So they're all over Santa Fe, you know, and there was one in George's Theater at the John Cocteau, and they were looking for an artist to do a graphic novel for his Wild Cards universe. There's 5 volumes. Wild Cards have always just mostly been books. Like they had a couple comics, but not many. They wanted to get into the graphic novel business, so they had the authors writing 5 stories, and the author was John Joss Miller. He's passed away, but he lived here in Albuquerque, and they said, okay, well, we want to get a local artist that way they can work together. So in the Wildcard Trust, there's all these different authors, and George, of course, is one of them. So it all goes by him. George still approves everything. So yeah, I just got this call, and then I did they first kind of had me do a poster art show at their little gallery there at the theater. So it was a mix of movie posters and like traditional, like cultural artwork, and then I got a call, and they're like, "Can you come and interview?" It's like, "Yeah, I don't know what's going on, but so I didn't know what it was. They didn't tell me
Yeah.
when It's cool, man. They took me up to his office. He wasn't there. It was his like lead assistant and the curator of the gallery. And it's funny. They like took me up there, and he had all these cool like posters in his office, just like really cool artwork everywhere, and like it was awesome.
That's cool.
And I sat on this couch, or this little like love seat type thing. It wasn't very comfortable, honestly. It looked a little old. And the curator guy was just like, "You know what you're sitting on?" And I was like, "No, I don't know. It's like a little seat." He's like, "Well, look at it." And I was like, "Okay." It was kind of like stained, like it was like dark in one part.
Yeah.
He's like, "It's one of the chairs from The Shining." And I'm like, "What? Really?
Oh, far out.
Isn't that crazy?" Yeah, it was like weird. Um, yeah, so that's when they told me like, "We want you to do a graphic novel." So I told him like, "I've never done one. So can you give me 24 hours to like think about this?" And they're like, "Yeah." And then I heard what the story was. So the story is in one of the novels, Inside Straight, which was a couple years old at that time. There was this guy named Drummer Boy. It Wildcard Universe is almost like X-Men. Like people have different like mutant type powers. And
Okay.
so
Yeah.
it's a really cool thing if you're looking at him. You looked at it before. But in this story, he has this girlfriend, Rosa, and she's her power comes from their Loteria deck, like the cards.
Yeah.
And if she cuts the deck, she'll become whatever the card is. Like she'll have imbued with powers depending on the card. So she's kind of like one of the most powerful. They call them aces, and that not she's one of the most powerful aces because she has all kinds of powers. The only thing is it's randomized. She can't pick it. She has to cut the deck, and it is what it is. Um, and they're passed down from her grandma, and then it skips a generation. There's this whole thing. So when I started reading about it, and like her abuelita, her grandma, is in the hospital. So in this story, she visits her. She's from East LA in the books. So she travels to New York to visit her grandma who's sick in the hospital, and gets entangled in this big like drama with this like Robin Hood type crazy villain, and like she turns into all these cool things, and like but to have like this Mexican American hero, um, and just the nature of the story, like where family's so important to her, and like these traditions that were passed down, like this special powers. It all had such a cool vibe, and I'm like, I gotta do this. Like this is a cool story, and selfishly, I'm like, I'm gonna see if my sister will model for the character. So my poor sister, and she's such a good sport. She's on the couch fighting, or she has an umbrella, when she's like El Paraguas, like flying from the sky, or she's like turning into this fire goddess, and all these crazy things. And at the time, my sister's like, I don't know what I'm doing. I hope this makes sense. But then now, like, she looks at it, she's like, oh my God, I remember posing for that. That was so weird. Like, doesn't make any sense at the time. But yeah, my sister's the main character, her likeness. And it was cool because when George met her, he was just like, oh, I recognize you.
That's cool.
That's pretty cool. I snuck my mom in there,
Nice.
my dog, my sister's dog, my stepdad's wrestling.
We have just a minute left, so I'll just ask
Okay.
my final question. Um, I borrowed this from another podcast. So, how much of your success do you attribute to luck, and how much do you attribute to hard work and skill?
I think circumstance is definitely part of it. I mean, that poster was in George's Theater. That's why I got the job for sure. I definitely work hard too. So I would say like, I don't know. It, I think it's definitely both. I think the hard work is definitely more of it, I think, because it's like you have to kind of show up and build a portfolio and I always did that even before I got any gigs. I was always just drawing. I just held like just stuff available. Like I kept my skills up. YouTube was great. Just kind of learning techniques. But honestly, in my special case, I would say a big part of it's my family because